Are you into refreshing, invigorating, and uplifting fragrances? Do you like fragrances that are tropical, Mediterranean-like vibes? So this is exactly what this brand is all about. Acqua di Parma transposes the Mediterranean life, the fruits, the Amalfi Coast of Italy, the sea life into their fragrances. And they do it very well, very meticulously, very well done. I love the brand. From their blue line to the original Colonia from 1916 to the new release 2020 Colonia Futura, which translates to future cologne or something of the future. Let's see how this one compares to all the different Colonia fragrances. This is actually their sixth flanker since the original inception from 1916. If you guys want to hear all about the 2020 release, and I'll also brush up on all the different ones and let you guys know exactly what I think about all the different ones that were released through the times, and of course a full thought and review on Colonia Futura. If you guys want to know all about it, stick around, it's coming up next. Welcome back to another video. Max Forti here to give you guys my full thoughts on the new 2020 release Colonia Futura. But before we do that and talk about the different Colonias, it's going to be like a mini GBU for you guys. But not quite. I'm just going to highlight the Colonia family of their fragrances here, Acqua di Parma. Before we do that, I want to remind you guys, because we're getting really close, there's only about a 2-week window of time to ScentXplore 2020, which is the only fragrance convention happening in 2020 since the pandemic happened. It's something that I'm greatly thankful to be able to put together for the fragrance community, to bring the community together, if you will. It's happening on December 5th, 2020. We're gonna have tons of great people from the golden era of the fragrance community, because we wanna keep changing the roster a little bit to give opportunity to other people to talk about their passion for fragrance. But not only that, we have 15 plus brands, and you also have a chance of getting a ScentXplore gift back, which is still available if you register today, guys. All details down in the description. Go check out ScentXplore.com for full details on the schedule, the agenda, everything that's happening on December 5th from 1 p.m. until 9 p.m. It's an all-day event. If you love fragrances, if you love niche fragrances, it's the place to be, guys. Check out the description. So let's get into the new 2020 release, Colonia Futura. If you've seen one of the fragrances from Acqua di Parma, you've seen them all. They all have this cylindrical kind of a bottle, the cylindrical cap. The sprayers are actually pretty good, very nice and broad mist. One of the best. I compare them to Yves Saint Laurent or Dior. I think they have that high quality and refined sprayers. This is a brand from Italy, and what they try to do, smells so good. They try to capture the Amalfi Coast. So elements that are citrus, that are fruity, that are invigorating, uplifting, that will give you that Mediterranean/tropical vibe into their fragrances. They started with the classic traditional fragrance that many celebrities chose to be their signature scent, which is the Colonia here from 1916. So it's been around for over 100 years. And of course, guys, if you want to see a full-fledged conversation on Acqua di Parma, I'm going to have it linked up here. I did a good, bad, ugly, underrated on the whole collection. Of course, there has been some new additions to the brand, and perhaps I will do a 2.0 for you guys. Let me know in the comments and then the like if you guys want to see a version 2.0 of the Acqua di Parma good, bad, and the ugly. But the original 1916, which is the OG here, it's actually a very simple, if you will, DNA. Reminds me of, Neroli Portofino from Tom Ford, which this was the fragrance that inspired Tom Ford in creating Tom Ford Neroli Portofino, which is a beautiful citrus/floral fragrance. You have rose, you have jasmine, you have a whole bunch of, citruses up top, Calabrian bergamots, Sicilian mandarins, lemons, Amalfi lemons. So it is a timeless classic, one that I love to wear. You can dress this up, you can dress this down. It is going to be very classic, very traditional, very elegant and sophisticated. Old world class right here. The only thing about this one, it doesn't have a very lasting power. Hence the fact that in 2003, two great noses, master perfumers, François Demachy and Bertrand Duchefort got together to create this particular fragrance here, Colonia Assoluta, which took the original DNA and amped it up with resins, with patchouli. It made it more long-lasting for one, and it also intensified the citruses with the patchouli, very big and bold vetiver in here, and some oak moss as well. So it's a lot more long-lasting and a lot spicier compared to the original. So if you wanted the same DNA, the same profile, but you wanted something a little bit stronger, you would go with Assoluta from 2003. Now, we pass forward to 2007, things changed once again with the introduction of Intensa, Colonia Intensa, which is the one that I wear the most. I love this stuff, always makes my top, work scent, if I'm going out to an event that I need to dress up a little more, but it's in the summer or springtime, this is definitely one of my go-tos. Now, what happened with the Intensa now, this is now François Demachy along with Alberto Marias, which now what they did here, not only did they make the fragrance more intense, or with the name Colonia Intense, but they also added a beautiful note of leather. You guys know how much I love the leather. Now the leather here is not going to be a skanky, rough and tumble kind of a leather. It'll be more of a suede leather effect that you'll get here, more for support of the composition, but it is outstanding, guys. This is definitely my favorite from the bunch. You know, before this one, of course, we're going to talk about this one in a second. It just has this gorgeous cardamom, myrrh, leather trifecta that really gave the scent character and strength, which I like it even more than the original or the Assoluta. But even furthermore, to make things even darker, we go to 2010 with the introduction of Essenza. Now this one here is perhaps the spicier or darker of all of them. Perhaps the reason why you have the dark bottle. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the only composition from the collection that has the black bottle with the white label. And this is a powerful, powerful fragrance. I mean, it packs up a punch. What I get here is a very oaky, vetiver kind of a, you know, ground, which is really hair-chested. When you think of fragrance like Dracar Noir, you know, powerhouse fragrances of the 80s, it's kind of like what they did here. They were bringing forth this particular genre in this fragrance. Also, again, keeping that citrus floral, you know, component with some amber in this one right here, and I think it also has some incense. So it really darkened things up with that patchouli and incense combination, kind of like what Acqua di Gio tried to do with Acqua di Gio Profumo. The main take here for Essenza, this is going to be the darker / most musky composition. There's musk, there is cloves, of course there's rose, jasmine. There's going to be the floral component that's going to follow the whole Colonia genre, but it's definitely the darker and spicier of them all. So if you like that kind of composition, but you wanted something darker, longer lasting, you would go for this one. Next up, we have a 2015 release, which is this one right here, Colonia Club, which now it's kind of like mainstream, if you will. They're kind of going into the blue genre / Acqua di Gio. That's what they were capturing this one here. It's the only green bottle, which is really cool. And what I love about this one is by then, 2015, there was a huge surge of mint in fragrances. A lot of mainstream companies were doing a blast of mint up top, and that's what you get here, which you didn't have with the other ones. If you want something really uplifting for the heavy summer, heavy heat, tropical countries, this stuff here is an amazing fragrance. Continued with that Colonia genre, but added this blue / minty facet to the fragrance. So this is the most blue of them all, which also, I would compare this like a Bleu de Chanel vibe, but with more mint. So this is like, if you like Bleu de Chanel, this is like Bleu de Chanel goes mint. It's a very minty Bleu de Chanel kind of a vibe that I get with this one. Needless to say, a really good one. I have a full review on this one when it first came out. If you want to go check it out, the link's going to be right up here. Then in 2017, we have the second to last release, which is Colonia Pura, which is another one that I actually wore a lot as well. Always makes my top spring / summer top lists because it is just a great floral masculine scent. Now what they did, they kept the DNA of the original 1916, Colonia, but they infused it. Oh, this is so good. The oranges here, the mandarin citruses up top with the oranges, it's just mouth-watering. Very realistic, very natural orange feel here. There's jasmine, there's narcissus flowers, so there's a floral component that I talked about. Very citrus, very invigorating, uplifting, amazing fragrance. Now, let's talk about the original 2020 Futura, newest release, just hit shelves, comes in this beautiful, cylindrical box here. Like I said, you've seen one, you've seen them all with the green label. Now, what do we get from Futura, guys? It's actually my scent of the day today, because what they did here is they resurged with the fougere kind of a vibe. There is an oak moss lavender combination here in vetiver that is just unbelievable. And another thing too, I'm going to tell you about this one is that it is extremely long lasting. If you're not into, old school barbershop fougere, lavender, oak moss, vetiver fragrances, then look away, stay away. You're not going to like this one for two reasons. Number one, it's going to have the old world, old school type of vibe. And it's also going to be very powerful, long lasting. This is something that I was blown away for a new 2020 release to be as long lasting. But the thing is about this one is that it's a very realistic and natural smell. And this is something that Acqua di Parma is really priding themselves with this composition, is that they're saying it's the most sustainable when it comes to the ingredients, fragrance that they put out so far. It's really with the green, with the environment, staying sustainable with the ingredients that's being used here, to being natural, to being very well sourced. So there's a whole gamut of things that went into this fragrance, which again, I'll have the link below from Acqua di Parma themselves. If you want to learn more about how this was constructed, you can. But it is the most naturally / sustainable fragrance that they put out up to this point. But talking about the scent itself, it is my scent of the day. I love the opening here. It's very citrus, very natural smelling. You have neroli, you have the Amalfi lemons, the Calabrian bergamots. It's mouth-watering good. It's like a juice, freshly squeezed fruits, That's what I get up top. Then as the fragrance gets into like the 10-15 mark, you're gonna get this nice herbal nuance that's gonna come forth with sage, the clary sage that's in here, as well as the lavender. So that's when it really becomes the barbershop feel type of a scent. And then as the fragrance progresses, I get a little bit of a woodiness from a vetiver, earthiness with the oak moss that adds this really green blast to the fragrance. Like it's really green and really earthy and mossy. And that lavender will stay here throughout the fragrance, which makes it very aromatic and very elegant, if you will. I love what they did here, which is really getting these natural and very realistic citrus components, but also having this, very traditional and timeless element with this fragrance. Like they took this, combine it with fougere fragrances, and added these really natural smelling fragrance that's true to their essence. Like if you look at the note breakdown, that's exactly how it's going to smell, which I think they did a fantastic job transposing those elements into the scent. Fantastically blended. So it'll start, like I said, very fruity, sparkly, very fizzy. The heart of this fragrance is going to be quite herbal, but you also have a spicy component here with red pepper. In the dry down, it's going to be that combination of the lavender, which is now a little bit powdery, along with the earthy vetiver and the green oak moss. So I love those kind of fragrances. They're up my alley. It's one of my favorite genres in perfumery. I love the oak moss barbershop feel with the lavender. So this is something that I really gravitate towards. Something that I would really be wearing over the next few years, especially when it comes to dressier occasions during the daytime. I think this, when it comes to settings, occasions, who should wear this? I think this is more masculine, definitely more mature, unless you have a taste or hankering for this type of a scent, the fougere barbershop slight fragrances. You're gonna like this. I think this is more of a day wear. You can dress this up, you can dress this down. I think it has a more elegant, sophisticated vibe to it, so I like to wear at least a shirt like this, or a jacket or a suit. I think this is perfectly well for those occasions when you really want to convey a boss-like vibe, or someone who's in control, who's not afraid to go off the beaten path a little bit, because I think this classic genre is kind of dying. You have a lot of blue, Brox, and Tonka, overly sweet fragrances. This is the opposite of that. So if you're not afraid of showing that, old world, elegance, I think this is going to be a great one for you. But definitely more masculine, day wear, and I think definitely great for spring and summer, but it is very versatile, I have to say. You can't pull this off all year round. If it's colder out, go heavier on the sprayer. If it's, warmer out, you can go 3 to 4 sprays and it's going to last all day. Believe me. I had this on this whole past week, and the dry down, like I said, it's not going to push as much. Performance was actually 8+ hours. So for a freshie, quite good performance. The longevity, like I said, 8+, projects for like 1.5 to 2 hours very strongly. And it leaves a very good scent trail and / sillage, especially if you spray your clothes in this area here or your arms. As you walk around, people will notice you for sure. I didn't get massive compliments, but the most, notices I got is people say, hey, you smell really clean today. You smell really fresh. I like what you have on. Kind of like that, but nothing like, hey, what are you wearing today? Because it's not going to be a groundbreaking / trendsetter. I mean, it's been done massively before, this genre. But I think the main state here is going to be that vetiver embellished by the lavender, the herbal nuances with that lavender just beautifully done here. So if you want something that's, kind of old school, but a little modernized, with that pink pepper, definitely check this out. It is good. Like I said, not groundbreaking, not trendsetter, but I think a good release for 2020. One of my favorites, especially because I didn't get much performance with this one, and this one here gives me 8+. This is like 4 to 5 hours. So I'm really loving this one. So guys, let me know your comments below. Let me know if you want to see a Acqua di Parma 2.0 on this channel, a good, bad, ugly, underrated, and overrated. Let me know if you have tried Colonia Futura, if you're looking forward to trying it. And from the whole Acqua di Parma collection, not just the Colonias, but the Blue Mediterranean collection, everything and anything that they put out, the Dark collection, which has the lather, the ooh, that's a great collection too that I should definitely talk about for you guys in the future. But Let me know, needless to say, at the comment section, which ones are your top 3 or top 5 Acqua di Parmas of all time, guys. Go crazy in the comments. Hope you guys enjoy this review / mini whole review or GBU on, well, GBU, like if I had to say my favorite, it's definitely the Intensa. Of course, if you appreciate what I do here, leave me one of these, touch the little subscriber for me, and hit the little bell icon so you get constant future videos, straight into your feed. I do, produce, 3+ videos per week. So if you guys like the content, be sure to, show your support. As always, remember, fragrance is emotion. It's an extension of who you are. So be sure to choose your fragrance wisely and wear what truly moves you. I'll see you guys right back here again very soon with another review or top video. Take care.